Hey, I am so pumped that you guys are here on a Wednesday night. I believe that you are not here by random, but God has something incredible in store for you here at Switch, and I'm so glad that you are a part. Because tonight, we are talking about emotions. Now, before we dive in, I need to tell you a secret, and that emotions are not my favorite. I think it's because I really didn't know how to deal with them growing up. Like when I was a little kid, I was like overly emotional. Like I was that friend where if you looked at them wrong, like burst into tears. And then like I grew up and like the logic side of my brain started to kick in and I realized like that's ridiculous. But I like swung too far the other way and I like shut all my emotions down. And now as an adult, I feel like I've really hit my stride. Like I feel like I've become this emotionally mature person until the other day I was talking with a human and he started comparing me to my sister. Now, here's the thing, my sister is amazing. Like she's talented, she's fun, and I'm just stinking proud of who she is. But pro tip, gentlemen, if you want any sort of peace in your life, never compare a woman to another woman, especially if they are related. Now, he did not say anything bad. He just thought it was interesting that me and my sister have similar personalities, but we have different talents and interests. Not bad. And then he said, but you do seem more homeschooled than she does. And I swear to you, in that moment, logic shut off and every emotion in my body was like, Avengers, assemble. And I say all that to say is that when it comes to emotions, we all have some room to grow. Now, some of you like emotions. Good, bad, weird. You want to feel them all. Like I have some friends who like have sad playlists for when they just want to cry for fun. I don't get that. Some of you might be like me. It's like we like all the good emotions, but the other ones, like we avoid like the plague. Like I refuse to see movies about dogs because you know exactly what is gonna happen. There's a dog, you love it, it dies. The end. Why would you do that? And some of you, just even mentioning emotions, you just have this like internal groan, like, because just the thought of talking about your feelings is so exhausting to you because you just don't want to go there. No matter how you may feel about emotions, I think we can all agree that emotions are complicated. Like there's like these intangible little things that I can't see and yet want to control my life. Like you're born and no one tells you what they are or how to understand them, but you're just supposed to know how to deal with them. I think that's why so many of us, we deal with our emotions so differently. Some of us, we spew our emotions. Whatever you feel, you do. If someone hurts you, you go talk about them behind their back. If you're angry, you go looking for someone to pick a fight. If you're feeling unseen or insecure, you start exaggerating or making up stories just to get attention. If you think it'll make you feel good, you try it, you do it, you give into it. Anything to feel good. Some of us, we shut our emotions down. Some of you, the minute you start to feel something uncomfortable, you just numb it. Binge watching, Netflix, drugs, relationships, anything to forget. Some of you, you run away from your emotions. You keep busy. You are always hanging out with friends because you are so afraid that if you are alone for just a minute, everything is gonna catch up with you. And some of you, man, you are going through something so emotionally heavy and hurtful that you don't want to feel anything anymore. And no, the painful emotions aren't getting in, but neither are the ones that make you feel alive. I heard it put this way once about emotions, like you can't let them drive. They're like toddlers. You can't let them drive, but you can't throw them in the trunk. So what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to deal with our emotions? we process them. Now, before we process them, I think it's important to understand where our emotions actually come from. Yes, there's this psychological element, hormonal, all these things, but at the heart of everything, God created emotions. He specifically designed you to have emotions, not to jack up your life and not to overwhelm you, but so that you could have a rich and a full life. They're from him. And you can see that in Jesus. Like, who is Jesus? Jesus is God's son, fully God and fully man, perfect and without sin, and yet full of emotions. He was ecstatic when someone had faith. He was enraged when people abused God's house. He wept with friends who were grieving. He was disgusted by religious hypocrites. He had compassion with those who were hurting. And he loved us to the point of laying down his life. Jesus knew how to process his emotions, even the painful ones. You can look at that when you see the night before Jesus died. He's in the garden and he's praying. And he is so overcome and distraught to the point that he is sweating blood because he knows exactly what is about to happen to him. That is the depth of emotion that Jesus is feeling. But what does he do with it? He doesn't take it out on other people. He doesn't shut him down. But in his emotions, feeling everything, he starts processing it and he brings it to God. He starts telling God, this is what I'm feeling. This is why. God, if there is any other way that you can make this happen, please let that happen. But he also doesn't let his emotions overcome him. He redirects them to align with God. And he says, God, but not my will, but your will be done. This is why Jesus is the safest place to process our emotions. Because he understands. He gets it. He knows exactly how you're feeling and he doesn't judge you for it. You know, I think it's so interesting, the things that we won't bring to God because we're so afraid that he's not gonna be able to handle everything we're feeling. But guess what? He's a big God. And not only that, he already knows. And he loves you. He even still likes you. You can bring it to him. Sometimes we don't bring things to God because we're ashamed of how we feel. And other times we don't bring things to God because we don't really think it matters. Like, God, if you already know anything, why do I have to tell you? I feel like this way all the time. Like, God, what's the point? If you already know everything that's going on in here, like, why do I have to tell you? What is the point of praying to you about it? And then I started thinking about my friends, how I can know a friend is going through a hard time and I can know everything that they're dealing with and how they're feeling, but it's different when they tell me. When they trust me enough to let me into what is going on in their life. It's a deeper level of friendship. And when they don't bring it to me, not only does it hurt them because I know they are going through something alone and that they're holding on to it, but it hurts our friendship because it's like, man, you can't trust me with this. And it's the same way with God. Not only does it hurt us when we don't bring our hurt and our pain and our emotion to God, but it restricts our relationship with him. And yes, Jesus wants to help you. He wants to heal you. He wants to be there for you. More than anything, he wants a real relationship with you. He wants a real friendship with you where you can trust him and you can bring him everything you're feeling, good, bad, big, or small, because you can. You can. And so